All right, all right, all right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Tonight we're going to be talking about $100,000 in real estate, no matter what. How to overcome the biggest obstacles to make 100,000 in real estate investing in the next 12 months. This is part two of our real estate success series, where we talk about different things that may be holding you back from being successful in real estate, how to get there quickly, how to get over whatever it is that you're dealing with, and get to the money. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, who am I and why am I discussing this? I always started off with just letting you know who I am. My name is Art, and along with my wife, Aisha, we have been investing in real estate for 26 years. Actually, it's 27 years, and we have done hundreds of real estate deals. So, how can we help you? Because that's what you really care about. We can help you avoid a lot of the mistakes many investors make, mostly because we have already made them. We have made a ton of mistakes. And I used to really think that we just weren't built for this, but I realized that the mistakes are what make you good at this business. We didn't give up, and now we share our real world experience to teach and help you build something meaningful for you and your family. So if you've been kind of wandering around and kind of interested in real estate, but not sure if it's the right move for you, then this will be something that will help you. We have found a successful path to wealth generation and built a repeatable, scalable process that you can repeat and get similar, if not greater, results. So hopefully you can do better than we have, but you can get good results. This call is about 30 minutes, so please pay attention. I'm going to move fast. Now, for those of you that are actually on the call, the first thing I let everybody know is that if you have a question, just ask it in the chat and I'll try to address it, assuming it's related to the topic we're discussing. I'll try to address the question. If you have additional questions that are outside of that, I'll be happy to address them at the end. You can throw them in there and I'll kind of say, well, we'll save this for the end and I'll go back over it if you've got a question about something that's not exactly tied to this. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. How have we helped others? How have we helped others? Our current group of students have purchased or are in the process of purchasing and selling over $1.2 million of real estate. This number is actually higher than this, but we have not updated the slide, with about 500,000 of that in profit in the last 3 months. So this number is actually higher. Our students have been doing very well the last few months. Many of our students are buying multiple properties. That is part of our business model. We buy and sell multiple properties at a time. Like Lisa, who has never purchased investment property before, and since working with us is in the process of buying 4 properties at less than half of what they are worth. So Lisa has done very well for herself. Or Kyra, who purchased her first investment property and is currently right now in the process of selling it for a $40,000 to $50,000 profit. So she's doing well with that. And Yolanda, who is a realtor but never purchased property for herself. She helped everybody else make money. And after working with us, she secured a deal on 3 properties and she turned $130,000 profit on her first deal. It made her wonder why she had not done this sooner. She said she wished she had thought to get into real estate and push herself. I'm going to show you tonight how these results are possible and how these ladies are not special or in a unique part of America, and how you can do the exact same thing that they are doing and why this works. Okay. So let's talk about it. This is an overview of what we'll be talking about in this training series, not just tonight, but the videos that we'll be doing for the next few weeks. This is an overview of what we'll be talking about. How to start in real estate with no previous experience. So if you're in real estate, never did a deal before, you're in the research phase. A lot of people say research is kind of like, to me, paralysis by analysis, because you've been looking at everything, but you haven't actually made the jump to do a deal or get started. Then this training series will help you. How to start if you have been in the industry but never invested. So a lot of realtors come and talk to us because they have been in the industry. They've done deals where they've closed and gotten a commission check, but they see these investors making money and they want to make money. And the beautiful thing about what we do is we make very sizable profits in real estate without dealing with tenants, without dealing with contractors and fixing properties up. We make money off of our negotiation, and it changes the entire spectrum of how you can do real estate. So it's a really good way to get into the business and generate some cash initially. How to make life-changing amounts of money by doing things differently. There are a ton of programs that talk about how to do the same tired things that everybody does: looking for motivated sellers, driving for dollars, cold calling, putting out bandit signs, putting out Facebook ads. There's a ton of people that talk about that stuff. And if you don't believe me, simply search sell my house on Facebook, or I want to sell my house or anything like that, and your timeline, your feed will be flooded with ads saying we buy houses. You are fighting with millions of people in the industry trying to buy your property that way. And we do things differently. We fly under the radar and we do really great deals, and it's a really different way of looking at things. How to build generational wealth and a real legacy by doing a specific strategy. So I'll give you the lowdown on this really quickly. People talk about generational wealth, and it's one of those buzzwords. Like back in the day, the buzzword used to be foreclosure. If you found a foreclosure, you had a good deal. Well, we talk about generational wealth in a way that is actually generational wealth. And what I mean by that is our goal with everybody that works with us, we have an ulterior motive for you being successful. We want you to be successful buying and selling single family real estate so that you can then make the money that you need to live. You will very quickly get to a point where you make more money than you need for yourself. When you get to that point, you're going to have to either take that money and do some investing with it, or you're going to have to pay taxes. If you invest in it properly, you can avoid the taxes. You can defer the taxes. We invest into large scale commercial real estate to build generational wealth, meaning that that money rolls over into that commercial real estate, and we keep getting a cash flow from that commercial real estate. And then once we sell that building, we put the money into another commercial piece of real estate and do an even bigger deal. I know that's a lot to take in. It's a lot for me to say, but it is building true generational wealth where you can pass that investment down to your kids or your kids' kids, and you can have something that pays a really a salary almost to somebody, to some of your family once you're done with it. And you can do it tax deferred where you don't have to pay the taxes right now. How to start where you are and grow with lower risk. Everybody wants to get started, and I'm going to touch on this grow with lower risk because a lot of people do one specific thing when they're trying to avoid risk. And I'm going to explain why risk is not bad if you take it in the right process. If you do it the right way, it's okay to take on some risk, and it's going to exponentially make you more money, and you're not going to put yourself in a really bad position. So we'll talk about that. And how to grow and help with your business without spending thousands. So how to get help with your business without spending thousands. I know everybody has a master class, their one-on-one teaching and everything. We offer that as well, but we also have a lot of stuff that will help you. And I'm a big believer in I give more than I ask, so that you get something from these trainings and these coaching programs, these free trainings, so that we can get you to a point where you want to invest with us, you work with us, you believe in what we're doing, and you want to see yourself reach that goal. That's what our students do. Okay. And what benefit you get if you do spend thousands the right way. That's because if you invest with us, if you work with us in building a business, because that's what we do, we build real estate businesses, you can do really well for yourself, and it's not that hard. It is not impossible, or you have to do something special, or you have to have a superpower. It's going to do really well for you. Okay. So part 2, that's this lesson, what we will cover in this session. So we will overcome the biggest obstacles to start in real estate investing. So I'm going to cover, and I want to do something a little bit unique. Everybody, just if you can, say hello in the chat and just wave your hand and say hello. I'm going to talk about the 4 biggest challenges that I see people dealing with when they want to get started or they want to build something in real estate. Now, I might not touch on your specific challenge. Maybe something I'm going to talk about isn't what you have a challenge with, but I want you to write, hello, Antoinette, good to see you. I want you, good, thank you. Thank you all for chiming in. I want you, as I'm going through these challenges, I want you to admit or say to me, or say to the group, because we're all family here, say what you feel your biggest challenge or what your biggest setback, what's holding you back? What do you feel is the thing that's stopping you from being successful? And I'll address it either in these challenges, because these are the basic things that people face, or I'll address it on a side note, because the goal with this and what we're going to talk about is getting you to your first $100,000 in real estate, and why whatever challenge you are facing is not really a challenge. It's just something you believe is stopping you. It's not really stopping you. Okay. So if you have a challenge that I do not address, then write it in the chat and just let me know, and I'll address it even while it's not one of the ones that I cover, because I want to hear what some of your challenges are. So the challenges, we will discuss how to overcome each of these obstacles, because they're not really obstacles. Number 1 is I don't know where to start or what to do first. So I'm having a strategy issue. That's where a lot of people feel they are. Raise your hand and just say, that's me, if that's what your challenge is. You don't know where to start or what to do first. That's one of the big challenges. Number two, I don't want to lose money or mess up my credit. It took me so long to build my credit. I don't want to mess it up on this first thing out the gate. I want to be very careful in what I do. So I want to make sure I don't risk everything. So we'll talk about that. Number three, dealing with tenants and contractors or negotiating scares me. Maybe you're scared. Maybe it's just to pull that trigger to deal with tenants or contractors or negotiate. You're just scared and you don't know what to do next. And if that's the case, we'll talk about that and what to do about that. And number four, I don't have enough credit or money to get started. So that's where a lot of people get scared and they feel like they can't start right now. Wait till I get my money together. Let me ask you this. If you don't have enough money now to get started and you're trying to get started in a thing that will get you money, how do you get enough money? You got to start to get money. But that's great, Antoinette. So that's one of the things we're definitely going to talk about, and we're going to show you how to overcome that, because this is not a money issue. Money, in that weird way of saying it, money is not a money issue. Okay, we're going to talk about that in just a second. All right, and we will address each of these and show you a path forward on this call. So we're going to show you how to get over it. So if I haven't addressed, or while I'm talking, if I haven't addressed your fear or your obstacle, put it in the chat, because I'd love to hear it and I want to touch on it, even if it's just briefly. Okay, so let's get started. Obstacle number one, I don't know where to start or what to do first, and I'm scared. When you are just starting out, real estate can feel overwhelming. Now, I know everybody here is a professional, but some of you, if you are just starting out, you can feel overwhelmed. I know I did when I started. Everyone that you hear on any video or any training says their way is the best, and they talk about how everyone has been successful. All right, okay, good, Nora. You don't know where to start. We're going to talk about that. Everyone talks about how they're the best, and everyone they have has been successful. Have you seen that? Have you been on other master classes or something like that, and you just felt like, oh man, everybody's doing something, I don't know what to do? Your head will start to spin with all the master classes, all the trainings, and all the free videos. And while you're doing all of that, everybody's asking you for a bunch of money at the same time. And I know that can be scary. And it's like, I don't even know where to spend money at, because I need to know that this is going to work for me. It's going to be successful. So that's what your fear is. Well, I'm going to show you how to get over that. So how do you overcome this issue? What do you think you should do? Well, I'm going to tell you what worked for me, because believe it or not, I was in that same position. I did not know where I wanted to start. I was not even, when I got into real estate, I was not even particularly looking to get into real estate. And there wasn't all the stuff that is coming to you in social media. When I started, there wasn't all of that, but there were a lot of people that were saying, hey, I can show you this and I can show you that. And I tried a lot of different things. What I learned over time that suited me the best is if you follow the process I'm about to give you. So here's what you do. Don't look at what they are teaching. Everybody's teaching sounds great. Don't look at what they're teaching. Instead, ask yourself what you want and what you don't want. Now, that will help you. Let me explain. So let's say you don't want to deal with tenants. Just understand that that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to deal with tenants, okay? It doesn't matter the strategy. When they start talking about Section 8 tenants and Section 8 tenants are okay, all of that goes out the window because you don't want to deal with tenants. That lets you X out those things you don't want to deal with. Or let's say you don't want to deal with long-term financing. You don't think that you can keep a mortgage for 30 years. You don't want to keep a mortgage for 30 years. So don't look at anything that requires you to do that. Or let's say you don't want to fix properties up. You don't want to deal with contractors. Look at the stuff you don't want to do and let that guide you to what strategy you actually consider. And then on top of that, look at what you do want. Now, what kind of stuff would you say you do want? I want to make X in this time frame. I want to make $100,000 in 12 months. I want to make $300,000 in the next year and a half. I want to make $1 million in the next 2 years. Whatever it is, look at a strategy that can actually provide that. So one of the craziest things to me is when I talk to someone and they say, oh, I'm getting into wholesaling, or I'm getting into lending money to investors or something like that. And they say all of this stuff. And then I say, okay, what do you expect to make from that? Based on what you've seen, how much do you expect to make? And they'll say, oh, I don't know. If I can make $5,000 a deal and do 1 or 2 deals a month, then I'd be happy. And it's like, okay, so you want to make about $10,000 a month. That's reasonable. Now, that's $10,000 doing that. What do you really want though? And they'll say, well, I want to make 300,000, or I want to make 150,000 or 200,000. I want to replace my income. Well, based on what you just said, if you follow the plan that you're looking at, you're going to make $10,000 a month, which is $120,000 a year. If it goes absolutely perfect, you make $120,000. Why not? And you got to do 24 deals to do that. Why not do a strategy that just makes larger money from the jump? I talked to somebody today and they said that their goal was to make $100,000. Their goal was actually to replace their income, and they wanted to make $50,000 to $100,000. $50,000 to $100,000 with what we do is 1 to 2 deals, literally 1 to 2 deals. So literally in a year, you could do 2 deals, get past that number, and then everything else you do in that year is a bonus, or it's just extra money, or it's just something you can do. You got to pick out a strategy or figure out what makes sense to get you where you want. And it's okay to be greedy. I know everybody talks about that and they say, oh, don't be greedy. Don't ask for too much. It's okay to be greedy, because if you aim for the moon and you hit the stars, you're still going to be better off than if you just aim for up the street and then you just got a few blocks down. You want to go for the big stuff. Set big goals for yourself, because if you set big goals, your mind will start to function on a way, okay, what do I need to do for hitting this big goal? I hope that makes sense for you. So set bigger goals, figure out what you don't want. Don't let them persuade you. Let you figure out what you want and then pursue the things that can hit that goal for you. Okay. Obstacle number 2. I don't want to lose money or mess up my credit. Now, that's a fear for a lot of people because they spent time building up their credit. A big fear is messing up and losing money or hurting your credit. And the best thing I can tell you about this is there are only 2 things that can cause you to lose money in real estate. Only 2 things. If you avoid these 2 things, you will avoid losing money 90% of the time. The 2 things are: 1, don't write a big check for rehab or for a property. When you write a big check, you run the risk of losing that check. So do everything you can not to write a big check. That's the first thing. The second thing is don't take on a lot of long-term debt. When you take on long-term, let's just sit here for a second and let's just think about long-term debt. You are saying, I'm going to get a loan for 30 years and I believe I'm going to get a tenant and they're going to pay me for 30 years. I'm going to get another tenant for 30 years. We don't know what this world is going to look like in 30 years. AI is taking over, robots are coming. We don't know what we're looking at. We don't want to sit on something that we hope works for a long term. And I know you could refinance. I know you could sell the property. Why not just do something that's short term and generates cash? Because if you're on this call, if you're looking at real estate, I don't know you, but I'm going to assume that you want to make money and not own a bunch of property. That is the goal, to make some large money, not to just own a bunch of deals and have a bunch of doors or something like that. Okay. Focus on short-term investments and your risk will be lower. You run the risk of short-term investments you can get rid of quickly. They can't mess up your credit. Short-term investments don't cost you a ton of money and you're not going to have to put yourself on the hook for a long-term debt. So it just makes sense. Okay. Do longer investments after you have built a pile of cash. Now, having said this, I don't want you to think I'm saying don't buy long-term investments or anything like that. You need long-term investments because we're not going to stay young forever. We need money that's going to keep coming in after we've stopped working. But where people mess up at is they try to go for the long-term money before they have the cash to actually establish building whatever it is, if that makes sense. If you come in here and you say, I want to buy a cash flow, because that's what you're buying when you buy a long-term investment. You're buying a cash flow. If you say, I want to buy a long-term investment, Aletha, if you got a question, just write it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer it. You don't want to do a long-term investment unless you have the cash to take care of it. If you don't have the cash, then it's going to struggle and it's going to be a headache and it will become a debt faster than you believe. So we got to do long-term investments after we've made some cash. We use short-term investments to build up cash. I hope that makes sense. All right. So let's talk about obstacle number 3. Dealing with tenants or contractors and negotiations scares me. So we have all heard horror stories of dealing with tenants. I know you probably know somebody who's been a landlord and they've been freaked out and scared and everything else, but we've all heard those horror stories. The truth of the matter is we all know how good contractors are hard to find. So if you're thinking about fixing up properties, finding good contractors can be very scary and can be a whole thing in itself. Okay. So the best way to get around both of these is choosing the right strategy. See, when you start in real estate, your strategy is going to make everything either exponentially harder or it's going to make everything a lot easier. So hopefully you pick a strategy that makes everything easier and not harder. Okay. Landlording, for example, being a landlord is a long-term play. Again, as I said, don't go long-term until you have cash. If you don't have cash, you are setting yourself up for a very difficult life as a landlord. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I have 2 buildings or 2 houses, and I'm not having a hard time. You also aren't making life-changing money with 2 houses. You're making some money that's maybe paying a bill, that's maybe making a little bit of extra money, but it is not generating anything that's significant. And what I'm trying to get you to see and get to is building something that makes significant money. Okay. Don't deal with contractors until you have the money and the deal for a general contractor manager. You don't want to be managing contractors. You don't want to listen to their excuses and everything else. You want to focus on actually doing deals, and then once you started to make some money, then you can put professionals in place to help you work even faster. But that all comes down to doing the right deals and not jumping into stuff with tenants and contractors. Okay. Now, you can make plenty of money in real estate without either of these factors, without tenants, without contractors. And the negotiation part, the only thing it takes is practice. And I can show you that really easily. I got some other trainings that we've done on negotiations that explain negotiations really easy. Let's talk about obstacle number 4. Okay. I don't have enough credit or money to get started. Now, for some of you, that's your issue. I don't have enough money or credit to get started. Is that right? Raise your hand if that's your issue, because I'm going to go over this and I want you to understand this so you can really understand that is not an issue. Okay. I have had no money and still done deals. I've had money and done deals. And I know you're going to say you can't find deals if you don't have any money. I'm going to show you different. So here's what I'm going to say. This is by far the biggest obstacle most people have about real estate when they're getting started. Gerald, I know we've talked and you told me this is not an issue. And let me explain why. Okay. Your financing or ability to get financing is only affected by 2 things, and it's not cash and it's not credit. I know that's what everybody thinks. That is not it. The 2 things that affect you getting financing are: 1, your strategy will make financing harder or easier. What are you going to do with the property? I'm going to buy this house or this building and do what? Because that will make your financing harder or easier. And let me explain this just for a second. Let's say you've never done a deal before and you walk into a bank and you say, hey, I want to buy this building that's worth $100,000 right now. And when I fix it up, it's going to be worth $300,000. Let's look at what, and then I'm going to rent it out. Let's look at what you're asking that bank to do. You're asking them to loan you money on a property that needs work, so it's not in good condition. And then you're saying, not only loan me the money to buy it, but loan me the money to fix it up. They don't know if you know how to fix it up. They don't know if you're good at it or not. They don't know anything about that. They're going to have to trust that you're going to do it. And the only trust that they have is your credit and money. That's the only way they can trust you. Then on top of that, you're going to say, once it's finished, it should be worth this. Now, we don't know if the market's going to change. We don't know what's going to happen between the time you start working on it and the time you finish it. Then let's add in the fact that you're going to rent it out and hope that it rents for X amount of dollars. That's a lot of trust that you're asking that bank to make. Does that make sense to you guys? You're asking them to take on, and they'll take on that risk, but they're going to make sure that you've got a heavy hand in it, where you've got significant money and you've got significant credit. So that's where a lot of people think that they can't get financing. Number 2, your deal will make you more desirable to lenders. Okay, that's just the truth of the matter. Your deal, your actual deal, will make you more desirable to lenders. If you put together the right lenders, or if you put together the right deal, then you will get more desire from lenders. So for example, the way we do deals of buying and selling, I tell a lender, here's a house, it's worth $100,000 right now today. It's not dilapidated. It's not in any bad shape. It's worth $100,000 today. You can go get it appraised. I'm buying the house at $60,000 and I only want to borrow $60,000 from you. So today it's worth 100. I'm only borrowing 60,000 because I got a great deal on it. And then on top of that, I'm only going to hold the property for, let's say, 30 to 60 days, and then I'm going to sell it for the profit of what it's worth. What risk is that bank taking with me? They're getting the property currently where it's worth more than they're loaning me for the property. Two, they know I'm only going to have their money out for a short amount of time. Banks make their money when you get the loan. They don't make their loan money on the 30 years that you're keeping the loan. That's why they turn around and sell the servicing of the note. That's why different places take over the servicing. So this is how banks make money. So I'm giving them what they want, a short, fast deal that has a high leverage where they're not putting a lot of risk into it, if that makes sense. They're going to want to do my deal first. They're going to want to do these type of deals first. Your job is to structure deals that are appealing to them. Okay. If you do this, it is the easiest issue to overcome, because if you have a good deal, you will have unlimited options. Now, that's bank financing. I haven't even talked about partnerships. I haven't even talked about private money. I haven't even talked about getting owner financing if you set it up right with the seller. There are a ton of issues, but you got to have a good deal. So part of it, it all feeds into itself. The right deal will, the right process for finding deals will lead you to the right deals. The right deals will get you good terms that allow you to go to the bank or go to anything else and get great terms to finance and buy it. The right strategy will allow you to sell it quickly and make money. As I said, I'm going to talk about one student in particular, Yolanda. Yolanda did her deal. She did not have the money to do the deal. She did not have the money to do the deal. She bought 3 properties. She turned around and sold 2 of the properties immediately to an investor because she knew an investor would be interested, and the investor was interested because they were good deals the way we structured it. She kept the 3rd deal for herself, and the money that she made off the 2, they paid her, so she used that money to buy her 3rd deal, and then she sold the 3rd deal and made $130,000. From $0 to $130,000. There's no way you're going to tell me that you don't have the money or the credit to get started. She didn't use any money. She didn't use any credit. She found the deal. And you can't say, well, I'll find the money and the credit and everything first, and then I'll go get the deal. You need to find the deal. The deal is where the money is at, if that makes sense. Okay. The problem is most people are desperate for any deal, and they don't secure a good deal. They just say, I just want to do something. And they end up putting a deal together just to say they got it under contract. And it really is not a good deal. That's the key issue that most people are missing. So where do I start? If I'm saying all of this and I'm going too fast, are you all still following me? Is all of this making sense? Have I lost you? Let me know in the chat if this is all making sense for you. And have I addressed issues that you thought you had? So where do I start? What do I do first? How do I get started with this? The first thing you do is choose a strategy that aligns with your goals. Please don't shortchange yourself and say, oh, I really want to make $150,000 a year and replace my income or have a stronger income, but I'm only going to save $10,000 because I believe that's what's possible. You're shortchanging yourself. Be honest with yourself. What do you want? Choose a strategy that aligns with your goals. If that strategy, if it takes 75 deals for you to make the money you want as your goal, that's probably not the right strategy. If you can do it in a deal or 2, or you can see how the deals make sense, and it's like, I can do this, I feel confident with this, that is the strategy for you, okay? And I'm not saying me or what we do, it might not be what we do that you want. You might want to own a bunch of rental properties. I don't know why, but maybe you do. Find the strategy that makes sense for you. Next, get the one skill that will pay the bills. Out of everything, I don't care what strategy you use or anything, the one skill that you got to get is learn how to find high profit deals. And you do that by looking for equity, not motivation. Don't look for motivated sellers. I know everybody says, I say this all the time. Don't look for motivated sellers. Motivation is a feeling. Nobody knows when they're motivated. You might be motivated today and not be motivated tomorrow. Instead, we trade in equity. We make money in equity, not sweat equity. When we fix up a house, that's how people that do contractors and everything work. We make money from equity in a property, what the property is worth today, and getting that for a discount. Then once we find people that have equity, the people that are motivated, that want to sell, raise their hand and they say, hey, I'm interested in selling. That is the secret. That is the one skill that you can do today. Okay. Secure a good deal and you can get financing. You can partner. You can do seller financing. There are a ton of ways to do this and still be successful with a good deal. Okay. Now, buy the property so you can control it. Now, a lot of people get into wholesaling and they're like, hey, I can control it by getting a contract. When you wholesale a deal, you do not have control. You've got an investor that might try to cut you out because they're hungry for the little bit of money that you're making. You got a seller that knows that you're really not buying it and they're trying to just get along to see if you can find them a seller, a buyer. You don't have to do all that. Buy the property. I know it's scary. You will have so much more control and you will have so much more profit in the deal. It's the way to go. We do it all the time and it makes sense. And I did not start with a boatload of money so I can say, oh, it's easy to do it. I started the same way some of you are, where you're like, I don't have a ton of money. I've started with the same way where some of you are, where I have some money, but I'm very protective of it. You got to take it on. You got to take on the challenge to get to where you want to get to. Do this over and over again until you have $100,000. With our strategy, in most cases, that is 1 to 3 deals. That's just the truth of the matter. It's usually 1 to 3 deals to get to $100,000. It's not typically that much of a deal. So now, why now is the time to start? So a lot of times people are like, well, when should I start? When does this look right? Right now is a great time. And let me give you a couple of reasons why. Number one, everyone is focused on motivated sellers, but now you know better. They're looking for motivated sellers. You're looking for the sellers with equity. There is more data available to you to make the process easier than ever before. There is data out there on almost every single American household that will tell us very easily what we are looking for with properties. And I'll talk about that in another training. Property values are increasing, making it possible for even larger profits. The profits that we have experienced in the last 2 or 3 years have dwarfed profits we've made in the last 7 years because the values are steadily increasing. And it's not something where we're taking on a lot of risk because we don't hold the property for very long. By focusing on marketing and not focusing on finding deals, don't go door knocking, don't go, driving for dollars, all of that stuff. You will beat 90% of the people out there trying to do real estate for free. Now, I know there's some of you out there trying to do real estate for free. I'm going to wholesale and go knock on doors, everything that I can do where I don't spend any money. And you are just like the other 9 million people doing the same thing. Spend a little bit of money and actually get a deal and actually close deals and make profit. Then when you make profit, you can spend more money and do bigger and more deals. That's the simple way to do it. I know you want to do something for free, but it's putting you in the lion's den with everybody else when you can do something with spending a little bit. And you don't have to spend a ton of money, but a little bit of money will make a huge return for you. Okay. So that's one of the big things. We started with $1,500 and we were able to make over $100,000 in less than 4 months. In literally about 2 months, we were able to make over $100,000. And we did not know what we were doing. What we did know was that we felt that marketing was better and the marketing brought us more deals and it made a huge difference. So I'm trying to get you out of that mindset of just save all the money, don't spend any money, drive for dollars. If you've been driving for dollars or bandit signs or flyers or any of that crazy stuff, and you haven't done a deal in the last 60 days, you need to look at another strategy. You need to look at marketing and the way we talk about marketing, okay? You can do this as well. This is possible for everybody. It does not take a ton of money. It does not take too much. It's possible. Okay. So these are some of the actual deals that we've done in the past, some of our previous purchases. You can see by what I'm talking about, by finding properties with equity, these properties aren't falling apart. They're not something that people are scared of. You're not scared to go in the neighborhood. Our average profit on these properties is about $39,000. Now, this is old. They're probably our properties that we do now are actually higher profits, but we keep it at a reasonable number because we don't always do high profit deals, but it sometimes works out that way. But our average repair cost on these properties is less than $1,500. Many times it's zero, but it's less than $1,500. Most of the time I'm cutting the grass, maybe cleaning up a little bit, and that's about it. Okay. Average time that we own this property, about 60 days. So usually 60 days or less, and we're talking about a profit and getting our check. Total time from contact to check, about 95 days. What does that mean? That means that from the time the seller contacted me and said, hey, I'm interested in selling my house, to the day that we got a check, typically was about 95 days. And we did multiple deals at a time. That's what makes this different. You see, these houses are not bad deals. Okay. This is what's possible with what I'm saying. These properties are reasonable. And this is when we bought them. This is not once they were fixed up. We didn't fix them up. Okay. Very nice properties, very nice neighborhoods, reasonable, all of that. This one needed a roof, but we didn't do the roof. it wasn't leaking. It just needed a roof. It was at the end of his life. These are all possible. So why get help? Let's talk about that. When you get help, you will get a clear and easy to understand strategy. Okay. You'll get a strategy that makes sense and it's easy to understand. It does not have to be complicated. Success in this business is 90% mindset and attitude, 10% is strategy, but you need help developing both for faster success. If you develop both of these, then you will have more success. If you focus on just getting a strategy, how many of you all have heard of a strategy, gotten the strategy, and then it's like, okay, now what? It's because the mindset is a big part of it and how you take action. You need that hand holding to take action. Okay. That's going to help you move forward. You need a plan for the road ahead you can't see. So that's when we talk about the commercial and all the stuff when you deal with taxes, stuff you're not even looking at right now because you're focused on, I just want to get a deal. Listen, I just want to get the deal is the first part of a long process. We are trying to build wealth. We are trying to build wealth. Wealth is not a short, fast, easy thing. That's building a hustle. We want to build wealth. And you have to build a plan that goes from start to finish and start working that plan. So if you want to learn more, if this is something that interests you, then I am happy to talk to you. We do an onboarding call or discovery call. I'm going to give the link in the chat. This is the link. You can set up a call with me or my team. We will talk to you about your goals and a real timeline. No problem, Edna. It's fine. I'm going to put the replay up for this tomorrow. So if you did not catch it, you'll get the replay tomorrow and we'll talk about this. But this is a real thing. We want to talk about, if you want to sit down and talk with us, let's talk about your goals. Let's talk about where you want to be and what would it take to actually get there in real time, not philosophical or anything like that. Let's talk about it for really. If you can afford to eat out once a month, we have programs to help you. We have programs that are work with you one-on-one and help you ridiculously close and make sure you build this business. We also have programs to get you started and get that first deal done so you can make some money. Then you can take some of the money from the first deal and put it into, if you want to expand and get more training to build a business from it. But we can help you either way. So set up a call and let's talk about it. And we'll be very honest in telling you what's going on. Okay, click on the chat and click the link in the chat to set up a call. Here's the link on the page. If you can't find it in the chat, all of that stuff will help you. Edna, I'm not sure what you mean. You're still going over my course. If you need help, Edna, then set up a call with us and talk, because I'm not sure what you mean by you're still going over your course. But we do everything we can to help you. We want to help you succeed. This is the way to set up a call with us. At the end of the day, if we can't help you, we can at least share some resources with you. All right. Now, I know I went a little bit over. Have you all found value in this? Is this something that you gained something from? Just let me know in the chat. Let me know if you want to keep these type of topics, or do you want me to drill down a little bit more detailed in real estate with negotiation and things like that? I just like to know where you guys are coming from. What do you think of these calls? I appreciate you watching the whole call. I hope you got something from it. I hope it made sense to you. I wish you the best. I want to see every one of you succeed. I hope to help you and work with you and help you all see some success. Set up a call if you haven't already, and let's talk about it. Let's see how we can help you get going. All right. Until next time, guys, I wish you the best. And as always, happy hunting. See you guys later.